Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center. And today we're looking at a list of the best bushcraft knives that you can get your hands on with a range of price points so that everyone can get out there and use them. Let's check them out. Now, bushcraft as a subject is a great thing for the whole family. Now, unlike survival, which is focused on getting out of danger, bushcraft is about getting out into nature and thriving. The bushcraft mentality is great for sharing your love of the outdoors by focusing on primitive living skills and how to safely use knives in service of those skills. Now, the bulk of what a bushcraft knife needs to do is carve and cut wood. Whether you're making feather sticks to get a fire going, making a primitive trap to procure food, or even just whittling by the fire. It's no surprise then that a Scandinavian or Scandi grind is prevalent on this style of knife. It's almost ubiquitous in the world of bushcraft knives, which makes sense since the genre is heavily influenced by Northern European heritage. Now, does a bushcraft knife have to have a Scandi grind? Not necessarily, but that is what we're going to focus on today. Since they're basically like a double-beveled chisel, they're absolutely phenomenal at wood carving, and they're very easy to sharpen too, since you can lay the bevel flat on your whetstone and not have to worry if you're holding the knife at the right angle or not. Now, I'm going to start with some budget-oriented stuff, and there's two brands that we've absolutely got to talk about, known far and wide for solid and affordable bushcraft offerings, Condor and Mora. We're going to start with the Condor Pterosaur, which is hands down my personal recommendation for a bushcraft knife on a budget. And as you can see, I've actually put this one to some really good use. Now, this is a full tang knife, meaning that the steel of the blade runs all the way through to the back end of the handle. But unlike a lot of full tang knives, rather than having two handle scales attached to the sides, the tang here is enveloped with an injection molded handle. It's nice and comfortable, and in this case, you can definitely see some influence from the traditional Scandinavian makers. Because of that nature, you don't have to touch any steel when you're gripping the knife, which is very important in colder weather. The blade is carbon steel. Actually, most bushcraft knives tend to be, although it's not necessarily a rule. And the reason for that is that simple carbon steels will be able to strike a spark with natural flint, which is something that complex alloys can't really do. We've got 1095 carbon steel here with a rustic finish, about 4¼ inches long and a versatile drop point shape. It's very easy to control, and it also has a feature that's common on a lot of bushcraft knives. The spine of the blade is crisp enough to strike a spark from a fire steel or ferrocerium rod. Now, unlike traditional flint, this is going to create a shower of sparks, but you do need a hard corner to make it work, and most of the knives we've got here today are capable of doing that with the spine. The pommel of the tang protrudes from the handle, and this is also a crisp enough place to throw sparks as well. Now, I also find this feature useful if you're using it as a scraper. For instance, if you're using an ember from your fire in order to burn out the bowl of a spoon or a cup, this is nice for scraping away the charred wood as you go. As far as the sheath, it's also injection molded, clicks in nicely. We've got a couple holes here at the bottom so that water can drain out, and it's nice and ambidextrous as well. Considering the price right now is about $42.50, your dollars go an awful long way with the Condor Pterosaur. All right, next we're going to talk about Mora knife, or Mora Knif if we're being sticklers about our pronunciation, but they're most commonly just called Mora. Now, they made their name on knives priced super cheaply, but built with quality construction and durability that punches way above the price you pay. Now, they've got a ton of great options. I've got a few of them here, from the Companion to the Bushcraft Black to the newer Kansbull and Full Tang Garberg. All are great and very capable knives, but today I want to show the Eldris. Now, you may ask why, and that's legitimate, because this is perhaps more of a whittling or utility knife than the knives that I just mentioned, but the Eldris can be a perfect starter bushcraft knife for the younger generations. The small but fat handle provides a good grip, and the small blade is easy to control and precise too. It also has a stainless steel blade, Sandvik's 12C27 steel. It's easy to sharpen, pretty tough, and it's very precisely ground. In fact, Mora is going to spoil you for the fit and finish that you can get for your money. And with that stainless steel, they're not going to have to worry about the blade rusting so much. Starting at about 25 bucks, this knife comes with a plastic sheath that can then be slipped into the pocket, or for a little bit more, you can get it with a neck lanyard, and that also comes with a fire steel, so you can get a full beginner's bushcraft kit. Now, some people, of course, are going to scratch their heads at the concept of a neck knife. It does seem kind of odd, but that's actually down to the Scandinavian people's influence again. It is a historic method for carrying smaller blades. Now in the tundra, there's always the danger of falling through ice, which is a hard situation to get out of on your own, to say the least. Typically, they'd carry their knives with the handle up and around their neck. That way it's easier to get to and use it to jam it in the ice and try and pull yourself out. But today, it still has definite uses. For one, it's very easy to carry a fixed blade without that sheath on your belt. That can come in handy day to day, or if you're out there hiking and you have a pack on that has a hip belt or something like that, this is going to stay out of the way when you need to carry that way. Now, speaking of some of the traditional things, the next couple knives I'm going to show you are from classic Scandinavian manufacturers. And the first is the Alden, made by Hella Knives in Norway. Now, the style of construction you see here is very traditional. First, the use of curly birch for the handle, which is a prevalent material on historic Scandinavian knives. And it looks really good and provides a warm feel in the hand too. And they've shaped it so it's very comfortable, and we get some cool features here at the front with some metal rings and a nice taper that's going to make pinch grips even easier. And instead of a full tang, this knife has what's called a stick tang, where the blade actually tapers down a little bit and extends out there towards the back. Again, a very classic method of construction for a typical Scandinavian bush knife. Blade length is very similar to the pterosaur, a little bit over 4 inches, and some of the Hella's models, like this one, use Sandvik's 12C27 steel again, whereas some of their knives actually up the ante with a proprietary triple laminated stainless. Now, the center layer is usually a high alloy steel with a higher carbon content that's treated for edge holding, with layers of a tougher stainless steel on the outsides to make it stronger. It's not something you see too much of in the bushcraft world. Mainly Hella and sometimes Mora Knif do that, so it's definitely a standout point. Now, Hella have gone for a higher polish finish on this blade than most of these others, and as a result, you don't get quite that crisp spine that you're going to need to strike a fire steel, so it's just something you want to keep in mind. However, that does make it a little bit more comfortable when you're placing your thumb on the spine. Now, the sheath on the Alden is getting more traditional here too. It's made from leather, and we've got a simple classic pouch style with a friction fit. What I really love about Hella knives is that they feel handcrafted, definitely heirloom quality, but the prices are still fantastic. The Alden here is a bargain at $129 right now. Another classic feeling option is the Lars Fault Bushcraft made by Castrum. Now, you may have heard of the custom Allen Wood Woodlore knife, which is a design made popular and co-designed by Ray Mears, who is a famous British bushcraft instructor and TV personality. This Castrum knife is about as close as you can get to that Woodlore knife in a production form, with its distinctive and very comfortable handle design with the flare at the back and tapering drop point blade, and it all comes in at about $185 right now. We've got curly birch handles again, but here we've got a true full tang rather than a stick tang. And since the handles attach to each side as scales, they're able to add some thin black liners for contrast and a more premium look. The steel is Böhler's K720, which is a tool steel that's very tough and can take a nice fine edge. It'll be able to stand up to a beating and then strop back without too much trouble. Now, the sheath is just as impressive as the knife. Leather pouch again with a nice thick welt finished very nicely. Completes the package, which is truly something you'd be proud to wear on your belt. All right, now that we've taken a look at some classic Scandinavian brands, I want to round things out with some of my favorite American companies. First and foremost is the name in handcrafted bushcraft knives in the US, L.T. Wright and his Genesis model, which helped launch the company. This knife is a spin on the Kephart style of knife, of course originated by Horace Kephart, a name who every outdoorsman should know. Now, I could be pedantic and argue that the original Kephart wasn't really a bushcraft knife per se, but I'm not gonna, because the Genesis with a Scandi grind is one of my top choices for a bomb-proof bushcraft knife. I just so happen to have the flat ground version of the knife here. It is available that way too, but that's just because what I had handy when we were getting ready to film this. Both are very capable knives with a 4 1/4 inch spear point blade, made in this case from A2 tool steel. Spear point, of course, has its point along the center line of the knife to help with accurate tip work and easy drilling through wood. Now, all the drop points so far can drill just fine, but the spear point is a little more favored for that task, and it comes into play when you're making a hearth board for a friction fire, as well as toggles for traps or around camp. Now, the broomstick style micarta handle is rock solid, and it's shaped by hand so there's no hot spots. Fills your grip nicely, and it reduces fatigue when you're using it heavily. It's also got a nice pair of thumb scallops for easy pinch grips at the top. Completing this package is a full-featured leather pouch sheath made by JRE Industries. Not only does it have a loop on the side for holding a fire steel close at hand, it also features a dangler attachment. This lets the knife ride lower, gets it below the hem of a long winter coat, or even the hip belt on a good backpack. But you can always remove it if you want, or just tuck it under and use the main loop so the knife rides higher on your side. Altogether, the LT Wright Genesis is a hard-working tool to last a lifetime. It can be had for about $210 right now, which is not a bad investment at all in a quality handcrafted tool. If you want to spend a little bit less though, but still want to buy American, there are some other options in the LT Wright line, including the Bushcrafter HC, but I'd also direct you to take a look at the SE RB3, coming in just over $120. Now SE of course is primarily known for their survival knives, and the RB3 was their first proper bushcraft knife. The blade is 1095 carbon steel and is just 3.5 inches long. A little bit shorter than most on this list, but it's just big enough and even easier to control. It really does feel like a perfect size. The handles are micarta and bolted on, and they've got a nice round profile. They've got a matte texture that feels nice and grippy. I find them very comfortable, but with that bolt-on nature, they would be easy to modify if you wanted to. The sheath follows the formula we're seeing a lot, a simple and effective leather pouch. Now this style is often preferred by bushcrafters because it's a little bit better than some of the snap type systems. Because the friction holds the knife in, there's no danger of a snap coming undone and dropping the knife in the middle of the woods. I've got one more to look at now, the Tops Brothers of Bushcraft Fieldcraft knife, affectionately known as the Bob. Now this typically comes with 1095 carbon steel, but the one I have here is actually 154 cm for those out there that want a stainless option. It's a little bit of a larger blade than most that I've shown so far. Almost 5 inches, or about 4 3/4, and thicker too at a full 3/16 of an inch thick. The grind is also a little bit different. Tops calls this their Scandivex grind. Instead of a full flat bevel, we actually get a straight edge followed by convexed right there at the edge itself. The Bob is a very capable knife, and it kind of fits my idea of what a quote-unquote survival bushcraft knife would be. We've got bolt-on handles with G10 or micarta, and they feel great and they're feature packed as well. Comes with thumb scallops for pinch grips. It's also got a protruding pommel which you can use for scraping, and it even has a little bit of an extra feature there too. Because the spine of this knife is not as crisp as some of the others, the protruding tang here has what they call the Shango notch, which is specifically designed for striking a fire steel. And that's not all though. This handle actually comes with a divot, which is designed to make a bow drill friction fire easier. Now just make sure you sheathe the knife first. That allows you to use these handles as a bearing block to press down on the spindle of wood while your bow spins it around to build up the ember that you're going to need to get your fire going. Again, like I said, just make sure the knife is sheathed before you do that. The Kydex sheath here makes it very easy to do. Comes with a few extras. You see we've got Tops' survival whistle attached to it, and it also comes with a fire starter. Now you'll notice when I pull that out, this is not just a ferro rod. We've actually got 2 rods of magnesium with a smaller ferro rod on the side. Magnesium, of course, is very flammable, so if things are bad enough where you really need to get a friction fire, then you know you're in trouble because you're going to want to use this first. But getting to practice your friction fires now is a great thing to do in your backyard or at camp. That way you'll have some experience with it. Plus, it's just a great excuse to spend some time outside. Now that's all I've got time to show you today, which really is a shame because there are some very cool knives that I would have loved to have talked about. The Real Steel Bushcraft series is a phenomenal budget option, the new Gerber Principal as well, and also the Bark River Bushcrafter series. There's even some legitimate bushcraft folders out there, like the Cold Steel Finn Wolf, the Condor Krakatoa, the Helublea. All of them are great knives. Make sure to let us know your favorite bushcraft knives down in the comments. Let me know what you thought of my list as well. To get your hands on any, we'll leave links in the description below to take you over to KnifeCenter.com. And make sure you're signed up for our Knife Rewards program while you're there, because you might as well earn some free money to spend on your next knife while you're buying the knife now. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. I hope you all are staying safe, sane, and sanitary out there. See you next time.